A new month, which means new sports to talk about here on All the Talk, All the Sports, with our first podcast of September. Thank you for tuning in. And today on this episode, I will be covering every major sport plus college football. That's right, even NBA, even though I don't usually cover NBA at all, don't talk about it at all, I do have an NBA segment today. So we're going to lead off with NHL, then go to the MLB. Quickly talk about some NFL, then head to the NBA where the playoffs are continuing and starting for the Western Conference, and finally some opinions on college football and some news on college football as well. So a big lineup today on All the Talk, All the Sports. Let's kick it off with some playoff hockey as the NHL moves along in the playoffs and the first team clinches their respective conference final. That is the Tampa Bay Lightning moving on to the Eastern Conference Final, as last night, Monday, they defeated the Boston Bruins in two overtimes, and then the series total was they won 4-1 over an outstanding Bruins team. The Islanders of New York are up 3-1 over the number 1 seed Flyers. The Islanders are looking outstanding right now. The Flyers are not. They're looking terrible. Their goalie, controversy there. They started Brian Elliott, not Jake Elliott, last game. So then that's the Eastern Conference side. I got the Islanders winning that series and facing the Tampa Bay Lightning in the Eastern Conference Final. However, I have the Tampa Bay Lightning going on to the Stanley Cup. The Islanders just won't have enough to defeat the Lightning from Tampa Bay. And on the western side of the bracket, the Dallas Stars are currently up on the Colorado Avalanche 3-2. So that's an interesting series. I think the Stars move on. The Vegas Golden Knights are up on the Vancouver Canucks 3-1. I think they move on as well. And I have the Stars and Vegas Knights in the Western Conference Final. I do have the Vegas Golden Knights going on to the Stanley Cup Finals to face the Tampa Bay Lightning, and give me the Vegas Golden Knights in that one. But some sad news in the NHL, quite possibly. We may have seen Zdeno Chara skate off the ice as an NHL player, as a Boston Bruin, for the last time last night. Honestly, I'm not going to lie with you, that gave me chills last night, as that close-up camera shot skating, showing the back of his jersey as he left the ice and headed for the locker room one last time. Probably, maybe, he might return, but still a great career from Zdeno Chara, one of the hockey players that I have always watched growing up. So a great career from him. I wish you all the best of luck and congratulate you on a great career, Zdeno Chara. Now let's talk some MLB action. Not really action, kind of just a little bit of update. The trade deadline ended yesterday, so we're well over halfway through the season in MLB. The trade deadline was yesterday. A bunch of little trades like that, odds and ends, relievers, bunch of little guys. The Padres, man, that lineup's shaping up to be really, really good. Dodgers might have some competition in the NL West in the coming years. But trade deadline was yesterday. Not too many big trades, no groundbreaking trades at all, so I'm not going to mention any names or teams in that. But however, in the playoffs, the playoffs start in October, I believe. The season ends like September 27th or something. But however, the NFL starts in September, as in 10 days. September 10th, Thursday Night Football, the Kansas City Chiefs, reigning Super Bowl champions, will face the Houston Texans. That is Thursday night. Then that Sunday, September 13th, a lot of NFL action across the whole league. So NFL officially kicks off the 10th. A bunch of games. Every other team plays on the 13th. So make sure to have your fantasy lineups ready to go by September 10th, as the Kansas City Chiefs will face the Houston Texans. And NBA is what we will talk about next. I don't know much about the NBA, so there will be no opinions in this NBA segment. However, from what I rounded up, I just rounded up some news across the league, some playoff updates, and odds and ends like that. So the East, they started the playoffs now. Miami, the Heat are up 1-0 in one game to none over the Milwaukee Bucks. So that is, but here's the interesting series that I think I might even have to watch a game of. The Boston Celtics are up 1 game over the Toronto Raptors. So I think from what I know, the Celtics and the Toronto Raptors are 2 top-tier teams in the NBA from the Eastern Conference side. So I think it's interesting how the Eastern Conference has already started like playoffs type stuff. Well, I guess it has been playoffs, but like not like the next round, I should say. Then in the West hasn't, and the West is still waiting to start that round because there's 4 teams still fighting for those last 2 positions. And those 4 teams are oh my gosh, excuse me. The Denver Nuggets and the Utah Jazz have to decide Game 7 yet to see who will face the Los Angeles Clippers. So the Nuggets, I love the name, I love the logo, I love the colors. I'm going to go with the Denver Nuggets. I know nothing about basketball, but I'm going to go with the Denver Nuggets to face the Los Angeles Clippers. And then on the other side, the northern side of the bracket, to see who plays the other Los Angeles team, the Lakers, is the Thunder and Rockets. They have Game 7 yet to decide. I think the Rockets are a better team. I do know that. So I'm going to go with the Rockets. One of our All the Talk, All the Sports featured guys and reporters, Caden Klein, is a huge Thunder fan, so sorry, Caden. But I'm going with the Rockets, and I think they will face the Lakers in the next round. So now, college football, my favorite sport ever. I mention that every podcast. I really need to stop doing that. But the Big Ten, obviously, we're still working out details to see, hey, are we going to be able to play a season? There's been talks that they might start Thanksgiving weekend, which might be good, but then you won't be able to send a team into the college football playoffs. However, so Thanksgiving weekend's really late. I would like them to start the last weekend in October, because that is the earliest they were talking about. But I think they start the weekend of Thanksgiving if they do start at all. But you know, it's getting interesting and things are getting heated. Let me calm down first. But the Pac-12, they've kind of fell into the shadows of the media spotlight and just kind of haven't gotten the heat from the media and fans and everyone involved in college football as the Big Ten has. So the Pac-12's kind of just sitting there in the corner, not trying to get that light shined on them. But you know, things are getting a little bit escalated when President Trump had a conversation today, Tuesday, September 1st, with the Big Ten Commissioner and the Big Ten Committee to get the season to start immediately, along with the ACC, SEC, and Big 12. Trump tweeted out, quote, had a very productive conversation, ... about immediately starting up Big Ten football, quote. So that can mean, unquote. So that can mean a lot of things for the Big Ten. So credit to President Trump. He wants college football, specifically Big Ten football. So credit to him. Awesome stuff there. Hopefully the Big Ten can start when the rest of the conferences do. And if they not, maybe even October, I'd be happy. Just Big Ten football in the early mid-fall would be nice to see and go into the winter. So the last thing I'd like to talk about is the Big Ten released their 11-3 vote on the presidents and chancellors' votes from each individual university if they want to play college football and fall sports for the Big Ten. Remember, this is not the athletic directors, college coaches, and players' decisions. This is the presidents and chancellors of the universities, and they have nothing to do with the athletic department. So the athletic directors, coaches, and players, from what I've gathered up in the videos I've watched, they all want to play college football, but unfortunately, it's not their decision. So this is the Big Ten flag. usually my favorite conference. It won't be my favorite conference in 2020 if they don't play at all. So we're just going to toss that over there. So that's my favorite conference to watch probably, but now I'm going to be watching a lot of ACC, SEC, and Big 12, so the SEC is very exciting to watch, so going to be watching a lot of that if Big 10 does not return. But you might be asking, who are the three teams that voted, the three universities that voted for college football and fall sports to be played? That is what I'm about to tell you right now. I now love these teams. I've already loved one of them. One of them is already my favorite team, as you might see in the background of this sports backdrop. But let's start with the Iowa Hawkeyes. The University of Iowa, great colors, great logo. Now I love them. I didn't love them when they defeated the Buckeyes about 3-4 years ago, maybe. But now, awesome school, go Hawkeyes. So great stuff from Iowa, the University of Iowa. And next, I jumped ahead. The University of Nebraska Cornhuskers. So now I love that school as well. So go Cornhuskers from Nebraska. Iowa and Nebraska, when you look at it geographically, kind of aren't really close to each other. They are. What am I talking about? They are extremely close to each other, and they're kind of off the radar when you look at the heart of the Big Ten and where that's placed. And then the map of all the schools. Nebraska could probably be a Big 12 school, or maybe even Pac-12 if we stretched it out. But they used to be a part of the Big 12, I think. So then the last one, obviously, you saw already. The Ohio State Buckeyes, my favorite college football team. The Ohio State University president and chancellors elected to play college football and college athletics in the fall of 2020. So now Penn State, don't like them at all. They voted to not play college football and fall sports. I didn't like them to begin with. Probably my least favorite college football team. Get them out of here. And that team up north, just as equally hated from me as the Penn State Nittany Lions. So get them out of here as well. So that is one of the few times I brought bias into this opinion on this show. Usually I try to keep my biased opinions out of this podcast, and as a sports reporter, not too big yet, but as a sports reporter and sports lover and a sports podcast host, I have to keep biased out of it, and I do. So all my opinions are unbiased, and I'm being honest with that. But that was a little bit of hate that I just threw in there for some fun. But it's been a fun podcast talking about all the sports news that has affected. It's a new month, September 1st podcast. We're back on Friday with another podcast with some college football recap from the games Thursday and a college football prediction and look ahead for the games that weekend. It's been a fun episode covering all the major sports and college football. See you Friday, everyone. Have a great day.